Yo guys, it's Sam. I hope all of you are doing well. Today, Apple announced the brand new iPad Pros with edge-to-edge screens that we've been waiting on forever. Drop a like if you're excited for these. Hit subscribe for more on this new iPad Pro. I already have mine on order, and I just want to show you guys everything that's new here and ultimately whether or not I think you should buy it. Before jumping into anything else, I do want to talk about pricing and color on these new iPad Pros because it is a little bit different this year. These new iPad Pros, as you could probably expect, are not cheap. In fact, they start for the cheapest model, 64 gigabytes, at $799 for the 11-inch model, and for the 12.9-inch model, you have to pay $999. So these are expensive iPads. You'll want to save up a couple bucks to buy one of these, but you're also getting a lot with them. Also, for some reason this year, they're only available in silver and space gray. Gold and rose gold is just missing. So first up, take a look at the new screens on these iPads. They go edge to edge now, similar to the iPhone 10, but you'll notice immediately they're better in one major way. The bezels are even all the way around, so you don't have this random notch just sticking out in the middle of the screen. Now, if Apple would have done that, they could have made the bezels around the rest of the device just a little bit slimmer, but from purely a design standpoint, I think they made the right call here. I think this objectively looks better than a phone with a notch. And they're also a little bit thicker, which means that you should be able to grab the iPad a little bit better. Although palm rejection for me, meaning that the screen is going to ignore where your hand is holding, has always been really great, and I can only assume that it's going to continue to be great on these new iPads as well. And for screen sizes this year, you have two options like you've had for a while, although the sizes themselves are a little bit different. So instead of 10.5 inches and the exact same form factor, you now get an 11-inch screen because of the fact that the screen goes from edge to edge now, and there are limited bezels all the way around. And for the 12.9-inch iPad, while the screen size did remain pretty much identical to the 12.9-inch iPad Pro from last year, the actual form factor of the device has shrunk down a little bit, so it's about the same size as a sheet of paper right now. I was really split between whether I wanted the 11 or 12.9-inch version, and ultimately I ended up ordering the 11-inch version of the iPad Pro. Now, unfortunately, the screens are not OLED. They do not have true black functionality like the iPhone XS or the iPhone XS Max or even the iPhone X from 2017. They are LCD, but again, Apple slapped something on that LCD screen to make it sound a little bit better than it probably is, which is a Liquid Retina display. Now, I've seen the Liquid Retina display on the iPhone XR, and I don't have any complaints. Of course, for somebody with a trained eye, you can tell pretty much instantly that it isn't OLED. It's not as premium, but I still think that it's going to look incredible. Like, I want to get across that the new screen on the iPhone XR or on the new iPad is not bad. It just could be a little bit better. Although if you had to get an 11-inch or 12.9-inch OLED display, the cost would definitely increase substantially. So I assume to keep costs down here, and because OLED is still relatively in short supply around the world, Apple stuck with LCD. Now, if you have screens as big as this and you're powering this many pixels that go edge to edge now, you need a crazy fast processor. But instead of just putting the same A12 Bionic chip in the new iPad Pros that Apple put in the new iPhones this year, again, they took it one step further with this device. You get the A12X Bionic chip, which Apple themselves described as a beast of a chip. So I'm incredibly excited to see the performance. Some of the demos that Apple previewed was for like Photoshop on the iPad, showing I think hundreds of layers at the same time without lag, navigating through them, projecting them into augmented reality. It was impressive. Like, this new iPad is unquestionably going to be the most powerful iPad that Apple has ever made. And if you are serious about photo editing, drawing, or using the iPad as a tool to create art, I think this year could be the year that it may, just may, be able to replace your computer. The reason that I say that it could be, because I'm not entirely sold yet, is because there's a new port on this device. It is now USBC, the first iOS device ever in the history of Apple as a company to have a port that is universal. USB-C is the industry standard now. It is reversible. It has crazy fast data transfer speeds. And what's cool about the new iPad, I was so happy that Apple mentioned this on stage and included this as a feature, If you buy one of the new iPad Pros, you can actually use a USB-C to Lightning cable and charge your iPhone from your iPad. So you can use the iPad as a power bank now. Just a little bit of a tidbit that I wanted to share with you because I thought that was super cool. It's just those small features that make Apple products even cooler than they already were before. Also important to note here is that with the new USB-C port, you can power an external monitor up to 5K, which is ridiculous. I never expected Apple to introduce external monitor support like this for the iPad, but if you have a 5K monitor, you've already paid a lot of money and now you want to use your iPad with it, you can do so without any adapter because there is a USB-C port on the device. But it's not entirely good news for ports. Just as much as I praised Apple for switching to USB-C, I want to be critical for removing the headphone jack. Apple did this years ago with the iPhone 7. It's no surprise, at least it shouldn't be a surprise even though it still kind of is. Or as always, you can go on Apple's website and buy one for $9. If Apple doesn't include it in the box, I'm just going to be disappointed because it would cost them fractions of a cent to produce one of these, and for them to just leave it out feels really cheap when you're paying what you're paying for these new iPads. Next up, I want to talk about cameras, and for some reason this year, Apple did not mention these on stage at all. I did not see them talk about the cameras one time, which was a little bit weird just because they normally highlight pretty much every aspect of a new product. And I know that the iPad has never been a device that you should be taking photos or videos on. Usually your iPhone is better suited for that, or traditionally a higher end camera. But what confuses me the most about why Apple didn't talk about the specs is how good they are. You get 4K video recording at up to 60 frames per second now, and Apple didn't go into a lot of the details, so I would assume these are the same cameras on the iPhone 10 from last year. I'm not seeing or reading about any of the smart HDR features that Apple just introduced on the iPhone XS or the iPhone XR, but still, the cameras are going to be incredible. Also, the FaceTime HD camera, which is now the true depth camera, got a major upgrade because you've probably noticed on this iPad there's no home button. Touch ID is gone, so guess what you're getting now? You are getting Face ID. So you're getting a new 7 megapixel front-facing camera that should put out some pretty great photos. And of course, Face ID is powered by the A12X chip, so it should be lightning quick. I think Apple said the Neural Engine can now handle like 5 trillion operations per second, which is insane because 5 trillion is something that I can't comprehend in my mind. I don't think most people could picture 5 trillion of anything or what that would look like or sound like or feel like. It's just a lot. The last big hardware change that I want to talk about on these new iPad Pros is what is on the side. There is a new magnetic connector, not just for aesthetics, but for the brand new second generation Apple Pencil. The second Apple Pencil looks pretty incredible. I was hoping so badly that you'd just be able to flip it around and use the other end as an eraser. So Apple's done a compromise of what I wanted there. Not like they actually watched the video, but you can now do these tap or swipe gestures on the Apple Pencil to switch tools on the fly. So you can go from writing, like double tap or swipe on the Apple Pencil itself, and it'll switch to the eraser or another tool. So I'm excited to try it out. I also did order an Apple Pencil. I bought the new iPad Pro, so of course look forward to a full review or at least a video talking about the Apple Pencil on the new iPad Pro, because there is a lot of potential here, and I think for artists it could be a game changer again. And I just want to point out here that Apple has made great strides in making the pairing process no longer severely uncomfortable. You don't have to stick the iPad in the iPad anymore and have everyone look at you like you're just trying to be a little bit of a creeper. You can just attach it to the side of the iPad. It's magnetic, so it sticks right onto the iPad. You can shake it around. Seems to be a very strong magnetic bond here, and it will also charge and pair the Apple Pencil as well. So no more uncomfortable charging. Round of applause for Apple. That is definitely the biggest takeaway from the event today for me. But in all seriousness, it's going to be a better pairing and charging process, and it will make sure that you probably don't lose your Apple Pencil as easily. Finally, how much storage can you get on this new iPad Pro? Well, Apple has added a new option this year. You can get it for 64 gigabytes, 256 gigabytes, 512 gigabytes, and yes, you guessed it, 1 terabyte of storage on this iPad Pro. That is ridiculous. I think that is complete overkill, but if you have a USB-C port now and you can maybe do more video or photo editing, then I totally understand why you would need that much space. That is going to bump the price up significantly, but if you need 1 terabyte of space on your new iPad Pro, you can do so. Definitely overkill on an iPhone, although I could see Apple bringing that to the iPhone maybe in 2019 or 2020. But on the iPad, there is some more feasibility there. So those are all the new features. That is the new iPad Pro. Should you be picking one of these up? Honestly, I am. Number one, because I'm a YouTuber who does Apple stuff. But number two, as an Apple consumer, I'm real excited for this iPad. I think it is going to be the biggest upgrade for the iPad. I think it is the biggest upgrade to the iPad since the iPad 1 was announced by Steve Jobs in 2010. The all-screen design alone is extremely appealing. It is fast. It has an amazing camera setup. There's a new Apple Pencil that is extra. I think the Apple Pencil by itself is $130, so it is pretty pricey, but the new iPad Pro is here, and I would say if you have anything older than the 2017 iPad Pro, upgrading is probably going to be worth it. But even if you just have the iPad Pro from last year, I also think upgrading is not a bad idea. Like, I really don't think you're going to be disappointed with this product. There is so much happening here, and while it is quite expensive, $800 for the 11-inch model and $1,000 for the 12.9-inch model, looks to be a pretty great device. All right, that's all I've got for you in this video. This is the new iPad Pro. Drop a like if you're excited. Hit subscribe if you want to see more videos and content on this device moving forward. I've been Sam, and I'll catch you all in my next video.